So in this lesson we're going to show you how to make sweet pastry, and the ingredients we're using are flour, sugar, cold butter cubes and an egg yolk. So we're going to separate the egg yolk, the egg white here. So we're taking the white out of the egg and holding on to the yolk. We put that to one side. Next thing we do is we get a food processor and we add our ingredients to it. So we'll add the flour that has been sieved. We're going to add the caster sugar, make sure all the caster sugar goes in there, and the cold cubed butter. We only add that to the dry ingredients. So what we do then is we process that in the machine. What it comes out like is a sandy texture. Looks like sand, nice and fine. The butter has been incorporated into the flour and sugar. So the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to add the egg yolk to bind this into the pastry. Again, back onto the food processor, and we come out with a pastry-like substance. Now it'll seem dry, but don't worry, we'll get it out onto the marble slab, and what we'll do is we'll bring the dough together and we'll knead it to a nice soft pastry dough. Now this is very crumbly, but again, very workable and easy to use. So we bring it together gradually on the table and we knead it into a nice soft dough. What we try to do then is, when we have it all put together, is we wrap it in cling film and we relax it for at least a half an hour in our fridge. So just lets the butter chill back down into the pastry before we go to roll it. So after the half hour, when it is set, you'll feel it's a little bit harder. We take our cling film off. We have our rolling pin. And we're going to dust a little bit of flour onto our worktop, marble or whatever worktop you're working at. Dust the rolling pin. So we make nice movements across the pastry and roll it out nice and slowly. Again, keep moving the pastry around to make sure that it doesn't stick to the work surface. Use more flour if you need to, but not too much. Again, rolling it slowly, not too quick. Don't roll it at the edges. Try and roll it continuously through the middle and out to the edge each side, moving it around all the time. So when we continue to do this, we have a nice thin consistency that's going to be the right thickness for our little tartlets. So when we get to that stage, we can see that it's ready. We let it sit there for a while and relax, and we know the size of the cutter we want to use to make our little rings. So we cut out a ring with the cutter, and we get our little tartlet cases, which have been oiled or brushed with butter. These are removable bases, which are very handy. So what we do then is we incorporate the pastry into that tartlet. We're kind of coaxing it into it at the start. Be nice and gentle, making sure not to crack the pastry so you don't leave any holes there. So you're incorporating it into the little tartlet cases, and you're moving it around with your fingers nice and slowly. Be careful not to break the inside of the little tartlet. So when you think you have it sufficiently done inside, we roll the top off just to trim it. We get a nice edge to the end of the pastry case. We can trim off the edges. And again, we just go around it to make sure that it's nice and smooth and nice clean edges on the end of our little tartlet case. Now remember, this can be done for a large case or a small case. So we get our 5 or 6 of these ready, cut them out. If we didn't want to use smaller ones, we could make one large one. And again, you do the same thing. You would incorporate into it. So then what we do is we bake it in a little oven, and we can also put some greaseproof paper in there. And we can put beans, or sometimes people put a shot glass, put it back in the oven, just to bake the inside of it more. It's called baking it blind, so that it's fully cooked through and the outside isn't burnt. So once that's done, we can pop the little cases out, which are cooked. You can see them there, nice crumb texture, beautiful sweet pastry, nice and crispy with the butter content in it. And we use this for several fillings, like a raspberry and lemon creme tartlets, lemon tartlets, or whichever you want to do in the end. So thank you for that. And that's the end of our class.